Welcome back to the deep dive. This time, we're going on a journey into the heart of the UK's civil justice system.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, should be good.
Sounds very interesting.
You've given me some intriguing material to unpack today. We're talking solicitors, barristers,
Okay.
even those intriguing McKenzie friends.
Right.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll be able to tell your wigs from your gavels and have a solid grasp on who's who in a civil case.
Okay.
Our main guide today is Unit 11 litigants and the legal profession, which seems like a pretty excellent roadmap for this journey.
Sounds good.
Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's dive in. It's a fascinating world with lots of moving parts, and I think understanding the different players and their roles can be really eye-opening.
Perfect. So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
When you picture a courtroom, who are the key figures that come to mind?
Well, I immediately think of solicitors and barristers,
Yeah.
two of the most recognizable legal professionals in the UK,
Right.
but their roles are actually quite distinct, and it's easy to get them confused.
Right. They often get lumped together, but there's a definite division of labor, isn't there?
Yeah.
Help us sort out who does what.
So imagine the legal system as a well-coordinated team.
Okay.
In that team, you have the solicitors, who are like the general practitioners of the legal world.
Okay.
They're the first point of contact for clients, handling a wide range of legal matters, from drafting contracts to providing advice on family law.
So they're the ones you call for your everyday legal needs, the ones who build relationships with clients and guide them through various legal processes.
Precisely. They're also the ones who prepare cases for court,
Right?
gather evidence, and present initial arguments.
Okay.
Now, if a case requires more specialized expertise or needs to be argued in a higher court, that's where the barristers come in.
Okay, so barristers are like the specialists, the ones you call in for the high-stakes legal battles.
Yeah.
They're known for their courtroom prowess and those distinctive wigs, right?
You got it. The wig is a symbol of their unique role in the legal system. Barristers are masters of legal argument and advocacy.
Okay.
They're skilled at presenting complex legal concepts in a persuasive and compelling way, and they're the ones who often deliver those dramatic courtroom speeches we see in films.
It sounds like they need a combination
Yeah.
of deep legal knowledge, strategic thinking, and a flair for performance.
Absolutely. They need to be quick on their feet, able to anticipate the opposing counsel's arguments, and respond with persuasive counterpoints.
Wow.
It's a demanding role that requires years of training and experience.
Now, I'm curious about something you mentioned earlier, the cab rank rule.
Yes.
That applies to barristers.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a fascinating tradition.
It is.
Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, so imagine a taxi rank where cabs line up waiting for passengers.
Okay.
The first cab in line must take the next passenger regardless of their destination.
Right.
The cab rank rule works similarly. If a barrister is available and qualified to handle a case, they cannot refuse it based on the client's identity or the nature of the case, as long as it falls within their area of expertise.
So it's all about ensuring equal access to justice, making sure everyone has the right to legal representation, no matter how controversial their case might be.
Exactly. It's meant to prevent discrimination and ensure that even those accused of the most heinous crimes or those with unpopular viewpoints can find legal representation.
That's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the idea that everyone deserves a fair hearing and competent legal counsel, regardless of their circumstances.
It's a cornerstone of the justice system.
Wow.
Now, alongside solicitors and barristers, you have another group of legal professionals called CILEX lawyers.
CILEX lawyers. Tell us more about them.
Okay.
They seem to be a newer addition to the legal landscape.
They are indeed.
Okay.
CILEX stands for the Chartered Institute of Legal Executives, and while they might not be as well known as solicitors and barristers, they play a crucial role in the legal system. Think of them as skilled legal practitioners with a focus on specific areas of law.
So they bring a specialized skill set to the table, perhaps focusing on family law, property law, or even criminal law.
Exactly. They often work alongside solicitors, providing expertise and support in their chosen areas of law.
Okay.
They can draft legal documents, advise clients, and even represent them in some courts.
It sounds like they provide a valuable service, especially for clients who might not need the full range of services offered by a solicitor.
Precisely. And they often provide a more cost-effective option for clients with limited budgets.
Right.
Now, speaking of different roles within the legal system, let's talk about the judges.
Ah, yes, the judges. The ones who preside over courtrooms, make rulings, and keep order.
Yeah.
But what does the structure of the judiciary look like in the UK? It seems there's a hierarchy involved.
You're right. The judiciary in England and Wales is structured like a pyramid, with different levels of judges handling cases of varying complexity.
Okay, I'm picturing this legal pyramid.
Good.
Walk me through the different levels.
At the base of the pyramid, you have recorders who are part-time judges, often appointed from the ranks of experienced barristers or solicitors.
Okay.
They typically handle less complex cases in county courts.
So they're like the first rung on the judicial ladder, gaining experience and building their expertise.
Exactly. Moving up the pyramid, you have district judges who handle a wider range of cases in magistrates' courts, family courts, and county courts.
So their responsibilities expand as they climb the judicial ladder.
Right.
What comes after district judges?
Above them are circuit judges who preside over more serious and complex cases, usually in county courts.
Okay.
They're known for their experience and their ability to handle challenging legal issues.
So each level of the pyramid represents a step up in terms of experience and the complexity of cases they handle.
Precisely. And as we ascend further, we reach the high court judges who sit in the high court and deal with the most serious and complex civil cases.
High court judges. It sounds like they're the legal heavyweights tackling most challenging legal battles. What's at the very top of this judicial pyramid?
At the pinnacle of the pyramid are the Court of Appeal judges, and above them, the justices of the Supreme Court. They review decisions made by lower courts, ensuring the law is applied consistently and fairly.
So they're the guardians of legal precedent,
Yes,
the ones who shape the interpretation of the law for the entire country.
precisely. They play a vital role in ensuring that the law evolves and adapts to meet the changing needs of society while upholding the principles of justice and fairness.
That's a fascinating overview of the judicial structure.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what does a judge's day-to-day work actually involve?
Well, their responsibilities go beyond simply deciding cases.
Okay.
They play a crucial role in managing the flow of cases through the court system, ensuring fairness and efficiency.
So it's not just about making rulings, it's about actively managing the process.
Yes.
Ensuring that cases move forward smoothly.
Exactly. They often encourage parties to settle disputes amicably, perhaps through mediation, and they might also play a role in determining who pays legal fees.
Right.
And something interesting from the source material, District Judge Shanti Magar actually highlighted the work-life balance as a benefit of being a judge compared to private practice.
Oh, that's unexpected. I always imagined the life of a judge to be quite demanding.
It's certainly a position of great responsibility, but it seems there's more flexibility and downtime than one might assume.
That's a good reminder that even in demanding professions, work-life balance is attainable.
Yeah.
Now let's introduce another key player in this legal drama, expert witnesses.
Yes.
They bring their specialized knowledge to illuminate complex issues, right?
That's right. Think of them as guides who help the court navigate specialized fields like medicine, engineering, or finance.
Okay.
They offer impartial opinions based on their expertise.
So if a case involves a complex medical procedure, the court might call upon a medical expert to provide insights that help them understand the evidence and make informed decisions.
Precisely. They're like translators bridging the gap between their specialized knowledge and the legal world. Now, this part of the source material really caught my attention.
Okay.
It emphasized the ethical challenges expert witnesses can face.
Oh, what kind of challenges are we talking about?
Imagine an expert witness being pressured to alter their findings to favor the side that hired them.
Wow.
It's a situation that demands the utmost integrity.
That's a tough spot to be in. They need to resist any attempts to influence their opinions and remain committed to providing unbiased insights.
Absolutely. Lord Falconer QC, a prominent legal figure, offered some excellent advice on this matter.
Right.
He stressed that an expert's primary duty is to the court, not to the party who hired them.
Okay.
Their loyalty lies with the truth and the integrity of the legal process.
That's a powerful statement. It highlights the crucial role expert witnesses play in ensuring that justice is served based on sound evidence and impartial expertise.
Precisely. Now let's shift gears and delve into a trend that's reshaping the legal landscape. The rise of litigants in person.
Okay.
Individuals who choose to represent themselves in court.
This is where things get really interesting. Why are more and more people choosing this route? It seems like navigating the legal system without a lawyer would be incredibly daunting.
You're right. It's a challenging path, but a growing number of people are finding themselves in this position.
So what's driving this trend? Is it a matter of choice or a matter of circumstance?
Well, the biggest factor is undoubtedly the cost of legal representation.
Right.
Legal aid, which used to provide financial assistance for those who couldn't afford a lawyer, is now limited for many civil cases.
Okay.
This leaves many people feeling like justice is simply out of reach.
It's like a financial barrier to justice,
Yeah.
preventing people from accessing the legal support they need.
Sadly, that's the reality for many.
Right.
And the statistics from the source material paint a stark picture.
Okay.
A 2019 survey found that 21% of people didn't even seek legal help because they assumed it would be too expensive.
Wow.
And alarmingly, the UK ranks 79th internationally in terms of the accessibility and affordability of civil justice.
79th, that's a concerning statistic.
Yeah.
It highlights a real gap between the ideal of equal access to justice and the reality many people face.
It's a serious issue that deserves attention.
Yeah.
Now, this trend of representing oneself is particularly prevalent in family law cases.
Family law. That's an area where emotions run high and the stakes are incredibly personal.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine going through a divorce or child custody battle without legal guidance.
It can be incredibly challenging both emotionally and logistically.
Right.
A 2019 report revealed that both parties had legal representation in only 20% of family court cases.
Wow.
That means 80% of these cases involved at least one person navigating the complexities of the legal system without professional guidance.
Only 20% with legal representation on both sides. It's a stark reminder of the challenges litigants in person face, particularly in these highly sensitive cases.
And the challenges are compounded by the complexities of the legal system itself.
Right.
A 2014 Ministry of Justice report shed light on the specific difficulties litigants in person encounter in family law cases.
What kind of difficulties are we talking about?
The report found that almost all litigants in person struggled with court procedures and legal complexities.
Okay.
They often felt overwhelmed by the paperwork, the terminology, and the overall process.
So it's not just about the emotional stress of the case itself, it's also about grappling with a system that can feel like a foreign language.
Exactly. And around half of these litigants in person were considered personally vulnerable, which made navigating the system even more challenging.
That's heartbreaking to hear.
Yeah.
It underscores the need for more support systems and resources for those who find themselves representing themselves in court.
Absolutely. And while legal aid might be limited, there are other options available.
Oh,
Remember those McKenzie friends we mentioned earlier?
right, McKenzie friends. They sound like a friendly presence in a daunting legal world.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this unique support system.
A McKenzie friend is someone who assists a litigant in person by offering support and guidance during legal proceedings. They might be a friend, family member, or even someone who offers this service professionally.
So they're like a legal buddy system,
Yeah.
helping people navigate the complexities of the court.
Yeah.
But what exactly can a McKenzie friend do?
They can provide moral support, help organize paperwork,
Right.
take notes during hearings, and offer advice on how to present a case.
Okay.
They're there to lend a helping hand and provide guidance, but it's important to note they're not legal professionals.
So they're not substitutes for lawyers, but they can provide valuable assistance to those who are representing themselves.
Exactly.
And the term McKenzie friend has a fascinating origin story, doesn't it?
It does. It comes from a real-life divorce case, McKenzie v. McKenzie, where the judge allowed Mr. McKenzie's Australian barrister friend to offer advice during the proceedings.
So it's a legal precedent that paved the way for this type of support system.
Yeah.
But while McKenzie friends can be a lifeline, there are also potential risks involved.
You're right, it's a double-edged sword. There's the question of what happens when someone without legal training gives bad advice.
Right.
And the lack of regulation in this area is concerning.
Yeah.
Unlike solicitors and barristers who are bound by strict professional codes, there's no real oversight of McKenzie friends.
That's a valid concern. It raises questions about accountability and the potential for harm if unqualified individuals are giving legal advice.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
Right.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's take a closer look at the different types of McKenzie friends and the evolving landscape of their services.
I'm eager to learn more about the nuances of this emerging field.
Good.
It's a fascinating glimpse into how people are adapting to the changing legal landscape.
It certainly is. Let's delve deeper into the world of McKenzie friends and explore the challenges and opportunities they present.
So we're back, diving deeper into the world of McKenzie friends.
Yeah.
You mentioned that their roles can vary quite a bit.
Yeah, they can.
I'm curious to understand those different shades of involvement.
Yeah, that's a great observation. The source material actually points out two main types of McKenzie friends,
Okay.
highlighting how diverse this field is becoming.
Two main types. Let's break it down for our listeners.
Yeah.
What sets them apart?
So you have the conventional McKenzie friend who's there to offer moral support, help organize those daunting piles of paperwork, and guide the litigant in person through the often confusing court procedures.
Okay.
Think of them as a supportive friend who happens to be familiar with the courtroom.
Okay, so they're providing a hand to hold and a roadmap through the process, but not necessarily legal expertise.
Exactly. Then you have McKenzie friends who take on a much broader role, offering services that sometimes even blur the lines with legal professionals.
Blur the lines. Now that's intriguing.
Yeah.
What kind of services are we talking about that push those boundaries?
These McKenzie friends might conduct legal research, offer advice on legal strategies, or even draft documents and help fill out those intricate court forms. Some even go so far as to request permission to speak in court, which a judge might grant if it's deemed beneficial for the litigant in person.
That's a significant step beyond the traditional role of McKenzie friend.
It is.
It almost sounds like they're acting as a quasi-lawyer in those situations.
It's definitely a gray area, and this broader role is becoming increasingly common, especially as the need for affordable legal assistance continues to grow.
That makes sense. If people can't afford a lawyer, they'll naturally seek out other options, even if those options come with certain risks.
Right.
What's fascinating is that the source material even touches on the business side of this trend.
Yes. Most McKenzie friends operate as sole traders, and some even work on a commission basis. It's become a real cottage industry.
Wow, so they're marketing their services, building a client base.
Yeah.
Operating almost like a parallel legal system running alongside the traditional one.
It's a fascinating development driven by the rising costs of legal representation and the limitations of legal aid.
Right.
It speaks to a real need in the system.
Absolutely. I imagine the backgrounds of these McKenzie friends are quite diverse.
They are.
What insights did the source material offer about their qualifications, and what motivates them to do this work?
Interestingly, many McKenzie friends were drawn to this field after having their own negative experiences with the court system.
Oh, really?
Perhaps they went through a difficult divorce or a challenging child custody case, and they want to help others avoid similar pitfalls.
So they're driven by a personal mission.
Yeah.
A desire to empower others based on their own experiences.
That's quite compelling.
It is.
But surprisingly few McKenzie friends actually have formal legal qualifications.
Oh, really?
Some might have relevant experience from previous careers, but most rely on their personal experiences and self-taught knowledge.
That does raise some concerns about competency and the quality of advice they're providing.
It does.
It highlights the need for some kind of regulation or oversight in this growing field.
You're spot on. It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
Speaking of regulation, the source material also mentioned insurance or the lack thereof.
Insurance. That's an important consideration.
It is.
What did the source material have to say about that?
It turns out that the majority of McKenzie friends aren't insured.
That's a huge risk, both for the McKenzie friend and the person they're assisting. What happens if they give advice that leads to a negative outcome in a case? Who's liable?
It's a real danger zone, and some McKenzie friends even reported having difficulty finding insurance companies willing to cover their activities.
I can understand why insurance companies might be hesitant.
Yeah.
It's a risky business, especially when you're dealing with legal matters without formal qualifications.
It's a definite challenge for those operating in this space.
Yeah.
Now shifting our focus to the clients themselves, who are the people seeking out McKenzie friends.
Yeah.
And why are they choosing this route instead of hiring a lawyer?
It's a great question. Paint us a picture of the typical McKenzie friend client.
Okay.
What are their motivations and circumstances?
Well, as we've discussed, many simply can't afford a lawyer.
Right.
That financial barrier to justice is a major driver.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that there are also clients who could afford a lawyer but opt for a McKenzie friend instead.
That's surprising. Why would someone who could afford legal representation choose a McKenzie friend?
Some might feel more comfortable with a less formal, more personal approach.
Okay.
They might value the emotional support and guidance a McKenzie friend offers.
Right.
Others might have a distrust of traditional lawyers
Yeah.
or feel intimidated by the legal system.
Okay.
It's not always just about finances. There's a personal element at play.
That makes sense. It highlights the importance of feeling empowered and having a sense of agency in your own legal matters.
Right.
The source material mentioned a specific group that seems to be gravitating towards McKenzie friends,
Okay.
fathers involved in family law cases, particularly those with lower incomes.
Yes, that's an interesting trend.
Yeah.
It likely reflects the high costs of family law representation, the emotional intensity of those cases, and perhaps a desire for more control over their legal journey. It's a reminder that choosing a McKenzie friend is a deeply personal decision, influenced by individual circumstances and preferences.
Yeah.
It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, and while there can be benefits, the risks shouldn't be overlooked.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears and revisit the topic of expert witnesses.
Okay.
Remember we talked about the potential ethical dilemmas they face?
Yes. The pressure to potentially alter their findings to favor the party that hired them,
Right.
it's a tough situation.
It really is. The source material offered some wise advice from Lord Falconer QC, who emphasized that an expert witness's primary duty is to the court, not to the client.
Right.
Their loyalty rests with the truth and the integrity of the legal process.
That's a powerful reminder of their ethical obligation to remain impartial and objective.
It is.
But it must be incredibly difficult to withstand pressure, especially when your livelihood might be at stake.
You're right. It takes real integrity and courage to stand firm in those situations.
Yeah.
That's why choosing expert witnesses known for their honesty and independence is so important.
Right.
It boils down to trust.
Yeah.
The court, the parties involved, everyone needs to have confidence that the expert witness is providing an objective and truthful opinion.
Trust is definitely the foundation.
It is.
The source material actually included some specific advice from Lord Falconer QC on how expert witnesses can maintain that trust.
Okay.
I'm curious to hear what he recommends.
He stressed the importance of transparency in their reports and testimony.
Okay.
They should be upfront about their qualifications, the methods they used, any limitations of their analysis, and even any potential biases that might influence their opinions.
Okay.
It's about laying all the cards on the table.
So being completely open about any factors that could affect their judgment.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
It's not about swaying the judge with clever arguments.
Right.
It's about providing clear, objective information.
Exactly. Lord Falconer also warned against using language that's too persuasive or biased. And he urged expert witnesses to be prepared to walk away from a case if they feel pressure to compromise their integrity or change their opinions.
It did.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Yeah.
It takes real courage to stand up for your principles, especially when your livelihood is on the line.
It does.
But it speaks volumes about their commitment to ethical conduct.
It does. It brings us to a fundamental question.
Okay.
What truly makes someone an effective expert witness?
Yeah.
What qualities and skills set the good ones apart from the truly exceptional ones?
That's the million-dollar question. Let's dive into that.
Okay.
Imagine we're selecting an expert witness for a case.
Okay.
What should we be looking for?
First and foremost, you need someone with deep expertise in their field.
Okay.
They need a proven track record of knowledge and experience relevant to the case.
Right.
They should be the go-to authority in their area, respected by their peers.
Right. They need to be at the top of their game, the ones who truly know their stuff.
Yeah.
But expertise alone isn't enough, is it?
You're absolutely right. They also need exceptional communication skills.
Okay.
They'll be explaining complex concepts to a judge who might not have a background in their field.
So they need to be able to break down those complex ideas into clear, concise language that anyone can understand both in writing and verbally.
Exactly. They're essentially acting as translators, bridging the gap between specialized knowledge and the legal world.
Right.
And they need to do it in a way that's engaging and easy to follow.
Right.
But there's more.
Okay.
An effective expert witness also needs sharp analytical skills.
So it's not just about having knowledge, it's about applying that knowledge to specific situations.
Yes.
Analyzing the facts in the case and forming well-reasoned opinions.
You nailed it. They're like detectives piecing together the puzzle using their specialized knowledge and analytical abilities.
It's a fascinating combination of skills and qualities.
Yeah, it is.
What else should we be looking for in an ideal expert witness?
And lastly, but certainly not least, they need a strong sense of objectivity and impartiality.
Right.
Their duty is to the court, not to any particular side. And they must be able to remain unbiased, even under pressure.
Right. We touched on that earlier.
Yeah.
Their commitment to truth and fairness is paramount.
It is.
So it's a blend of deep knowledge, clear communication, sharp analytical skills, and unwavering integrity.
Yes.
That's quite a package.
You've summed it up perfectly. These are the hallmarks of a truly effective expert witness, someone who can play a vital role in ensuring justice is served.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's circle back to those litigants in person.
Okay.
We've explored the reasons behind their growing numbers and the challenges they face.
Yeah.
But the source material also gave us some very personal glimpses into the lives of those navigating the legal system without a lawyer.
You're right. Remember that audio drama, Mayfield Tales? It
Yes.
really brought those experiences to life.
Mayfield Tales.
Yes.
It felt like we were right there in that pub listening to those stories unfold.
It did.
One character, Wendy, had quite a journey, didn't she?
She did her experience with that bucking bronco accident at the fair, and her subsequent lawsuit against the hospital for negligence was quite illuminating.
Yes. If I remember correctly, she claimed the hospital's delay in treating her arm caused further damage.
Uh-huh.
Even though she admitted there was a high chance her arm would have ended up the same way regardless of the delay.
You've got a sharp memory.
Mhm.
And she ended up winning a financial settlement, which is the part that really made me think.
Yeah.
Why would the hospital settle if their actions were only responsible for a small percentage of the damage?
It does seem counterintuitive. What do you think was at play there?
Well, legal cases are often about pragmatism as much as they are about proving right or wrong.
So it's not always a black and white open and shut case.
Exactly. Even though the hospital might have had a strong argument based on the but for test.
Right, the but for test.
Yeah,
It asks, but for the defendant's actions, would the harm have occurred?
precisely. And in Wendy's case, the hospital could argue that but for their delay, her arm likely would have ended up in the same condition. However, even with a strong legal argument, going to trial always carries risks.
Because a jury might see things differently and rule against them.
Exactly. And trials can be expensive, time-consuming, and generate negative publicity.
Right.
So often it's in everyone's best interest to reach a settlement, even if it means some compromise.
So for the hospital, settling with Wendy, even for a lesser amount, might have been a way to avoid the uncertainty and cost of a trial and potentially damaging publicity.
Exactly. It was likely a calculated risk.
Right.
And remember, Wendy was represented by a CILEX lawyer.
Yeah.
It highlights the growing role CILEX lawyers play in the legal landscape, particularly as the demand for affordable legal services increases.
That's a great example of how CILEX lawyers are making a real difference for clients like Wendy.
They're an invaluable part of the system now before we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Yeah, it's amazing how those personal stories from Mayfield Tales really brought these concepts to life.
They did.
Wendy's case in particular highlighted the complexities of legal decision-making. It's not always about clear-cut right and wrong, is it?
It rarely is, especially when you factor in the practicalities of the legal system.
Right.
Even if a party feels they have a strong case, the uncertainty and potential costs of a trial often lead to settlements that might seem surprising at first glance.
Like a game of strategy.
Yeah,
Weighing the potential risks and rewards of different paths.
that is.
And Wendy's case also showcased the valuable role CILEX lawyers are playing.
Absolutely. Their expertise and accessibility are making a real difference for people who might otherwise struggle to navigate the legal system.
Right.
They're becoming an integral part of the legal landscape.
Now, as we approach the end of our deep dive,
Okay.
I'm wondering if we can pull together the key takeaways for our listeners.
Sure.
What are the most important insights you'd want them to walk away with?
I think the first and most crucial takeaway is that the UK legal system is complex.
Yep.
We've only scratched the surface here, but even our brief exploration has revealed a multitude of roles, rules, procedures, and ethical considerations.
It can definitely feel like a maze, especially for someone who's unfamiliar with the legal world.
It can.
And navigating that maze without legal representation can be incredibly challenging,
Yeah.
as we've seen with the rising number of litigants in person.
It is.
Right? Those statistics about family law cases were particularly eye-opening.
They were.
It's clear that many people are struggling to access the legal support they need.
Absolutely. And that's why knowledge is power.
Yeah.
The more you understand about the system, the better equipped you'll be to navigate it, whether you're hiring a lawyer or representing yourself.
So this deep dive is about empowering the listener with a basic understanding of how things work,
Right.
what their options are, and where to seek help.
Exactly. Don't hesitate to ask questions and seek guidance if you're facing a legal issue.
Yeah.
There are resources available like McKenzie Friends and organizations that offer support to litigants in person.
That's a great reminder. You don't have to go through this alone.
Right.
There are people and organizations ready to help. And I think another key takeaway is the importance of ethical conduct within the legal profession.
Absolutely.
From solicitors and barristers to expert witnesses.
Yeah.
Everyone involved in the legal system has a responsibility to uphold the principles of fairness, integrity, and professionalism.
Yeah, they do.
And for those of us outside the profession, It's important to be aware of these ethical standards and choose legal professionals we can trust.
Right.
Trust really is the foundation of the whole system.
It's essential. Without trust, the system wouldn't function effectively.
So there you have it, a whirlwind tour through the intricate world of the UK's legal landscape. We've explored the roles of various legal professionals, the challenges of representing yourself in court, the significance of expert witnesses, and the ethical considerations that underpin it all.
We have.
It's been a fascinating journey, and I hope our listener feels more informed and empowered to navigate this complex world.
I hope so too.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. As the legal landscape continues to evolve with the rise of litigants in person and the emergence of new roles like McKenzie Friends,
Right.
it's more important than ever to stay informed and engaged.
I agree. The legal system affects all of us in one way or another.
Yeah.
So understanding these trends and participating in conversations about access to justice and the affordability of legal services is crucial.
Exactly. Stay curious, keep learning, and let's continue to explore the ever-changing world of law and justice together.
Sounds good.
And with that, we'll bring this deep dive into the UK's legal system to a close.
Okay.
We hope you found it insightful and empowering.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights.
As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Head over to our website to continue the conversation and share your insights.
Great.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.